Well, that monster, known as Castro, is dead. Apparently, he hanged himself with a bedsheet. Castro was serving a 1,000-year sentence, you may remember, for kidnapping and torturing 3 women. But now a story that we thought was over has a new and a bit of a mysterious ending. How did Castro actually die? It's hard to believe when you see a picture of a protective custody cell from his prison and then talk about how he was found dead. So we've decided to kind of recreate this tiny protective prison cell. HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks with me, also forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan. Guys, all right, so your first reaction when you heard he was found with a bed sheet, apparently hanged himself, where do you
not
do
surprised.
it?
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. But how do you do it? You know, give me the
look at that. Look at that picture right here. We see this. It's on a loop. You've got a sink. See that sink? That's all you need to hang yourself. All you got to do is take a piece of sheeting, right? Okay. Rip that sheeting. 30 minutes they're making the rounds. Rip this sheeting, tie it real tight around the sink, around your neck, and just let yourself go limp.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's not. It's a small area, though. Right. He's a big guy. Explain.
It doesn't matter. See, a lot of people have the misconception that you need some place to support yourself, like hanging. Well, hanging doesn't just mean that you're hanging from the ceiling. Right. You can actually sit down. An individual can actually sit down and hang themselves. Over the course of my career, I've probably worked at least 100 cases where individuals have sat on the floor and hung themselves. If they have the will, if they are suicidal, they'll find a way to do it.
So is it suffocation or snapping their neck?
No, ma'am. It is an asphyxial death where they slowly die as a result of lack of oxygen. It's not snapping of the neck.
Keep this in mind. When I was at Delta Airlines, when I was the corporate security general manager there, we had a passenger on an international flight hang themselves in the lavatory. You know how small a plane lavatory is? They were able to do that because
it's even smaller than this.
It's even smaller than this.
So apparently, what I was reading is that they found him at 9:20 p.m. in his cell. Yes. All right. A member of the prison staff couldn't revive him. And so then we read it took an hour and 22 minutes to pronounce him dead. Right. Is that...
No, that's not unusual because he was transported to the hospital, to Ohio State University Hospital. They're going to work him. They're going to work him. It's a code. They're going to go ahead and work him, try to do everything they can to revive him to make sure that he carries out the sentence of the state. So they were unable to revive him. He was then pronounced dead.
And he may have had some kind of agonal respirations. Also, keep in mind, time of pronouncement is not necessarily the time of death. Right. This just means that this is like the official time that they're going to pronounce the individual dead.
Now, let's talk about suicide watch, because when you're on suicide watch, I mean, they're watching you 24/7, right? His attorney thought that he should have been on suicide watch. Let's listen.
We made a request to the prison for us to have an independent forensic evaluation done. We did that roughly 2 weeks ago, a specific request to the warden in that prison, and our request was denied. If they did a forensic evaluation with him recently, then he should have been on a suicide watch. And there shouldn't have been a watch every 30 minutes. There should have been somebody outside of a cell more frequently.
All right, guys, I'm going to have you answer in a minute, but psychiatrist Tracy Marks is also with us. Do you think that would have made a difference, Tracy?
Suicide watch, yeah, it could have made a difference having someone sitting there the whole time, but not necessarily. I mean, if the person had their back turned to them, turned to him, he could still rig that sheet pretty quickly and take care of business.
And see, suicide watch means different things at different facilities. It could mean someone checking on them every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes. But normally, it's usually every 15 minutes, Kira. And so 30 minutes, that's still being checked on a regular basis because he was in protective custody in segregated confinement.
All right, you know I have to ask this, and maybe, Joseph, I take it to you. Okay. We all know that a suicide note was found in his home before any of this happened, right? His sentencing, et cetera. Right. Is it possible that everybody just kind of turned away and just kind of let things happen?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak to the authorties in Ohio.
I'm asking, is it possible, knowing what you know, where you work, you know prisons, is it possible they just went...
Corrections officers take their jobs very, very seriously. Could they have turned their back? Yeah, but keep in mind, these people are literally having to watch care over hundreds of other people. And another issue with this is that this is not his final destination. The location where he was is a diagnostic center to get him psychiatric treatment, evaluation, physical, and then they're going to send him out to his final destination. So what the defense attorney is harping about, he's receiving a psychiatric evaluation in this environment. That's standard in almost any state you go to.
Got it. Well, you would think that Castro's victims would want him to die, but not Michelle Knight. She wanted him to suffer alive in prison.
You deserve to spend life in prison. I can forgive you, but I'll never forget.
Now it's time for you to be the judge. Do you think Castro's death should be investigated, or is that just a waste of your tax dollars?